Sometimes you finish a game and sit back and drink in the engineering. I am a person for who the fashioning of parts and the subsequent expert assembly of them is wholly alien. All I can do when presented with such a wonderful machine is to sit back and marvel, take a few minutes before putting the components in bags and folding up the board to show due reverence to the skill shown in making these mechanisms work. There is a real talent in this kind of design, and it's cruelly underrated in the wider world. We should hail these engineers who can transform an intellectual concept into a device we can manipulate and tinker with. In Evacuation, Vladimir, Suchy and Delicious Games have created such a device. There are so many disparate parts here, but they've been filed and polished until they fit together perfectly. What is the purpose of this machine, though? Simple. It is to produce all of those wonderful brain chemicals that make us sit back after a game and just drink in the engineering. And Evacuation, it produces buckets of them. Vladimir Suchy has delighted me as a designer. From the first moment I sat down with Last Will, I've watched his career with interest. Through his own imprint, Delicious Games, I've seen him carve out a niche for himself as a designer that produces complex and knotty Eurogames that don't overwhelm with rules. Underwater Cities, Praga Caput Regni and Messina 1347 are all a testament to his ability to take disparate concepts and bring them together into a coherent whole. So many modern games feel like the designer has poured a load of mechanisms into a bucket, swirled them around a bit and then poured them all over the board without any thought whatsoever to coherence. Vladimir Suchy's games aren't like this. Each one feels like a well-written poem where every element has been thoughtfully chosen and placed in just the right position. Evacuation is no exception. This is a game of flawless execution, a game of pure craft, a game that ramps up at just the right speed. At the start of the game, you wonder how you will ever get to the place the game wishes you to travel, and yet, by the end of it, you're taking turns that seemed inconceivable at the beginning and drenching your cerebrum in serotonin at the same time. Game design is not just about coming up with innovative mechanisms, it is folding this innovation into a greater whole and producing something coherent. Evacuation is as coherent as it gets. In Evacuation, we assume the roles of continental patricians seeking to save the denizens of our particular chunk of the planet from a fiery death when the place inevitably immolates. We do this by transporting them to a new planet that we've discovered, so we can get on with the work at hand, stripping this new place of everything on it and hopefully finding another one before this one inevitably collapses under the weight of our own rapaciousness. This is achieved through the clever use of the actions available to us. You can do a myriad of things in this game that help you get what you want. You can climb a tech bush that will be unique to you. These upgrades improve your resource production, beef up your transport infrastructure, and let you settle in parts of the new world that have yet to be discovered. Essentially, they offer you useful buffs to help you through the game. You can build spaceships to transport your people and industry to the new world. You can build stadiums to entertain them and construct buildings that act as catalysts in your resource production. And resources are at the heart of the game. Not only to get the stuff you need to help populate the new world, but to get the new world online. This is why you want to transport people over to your new home so you can get them to work right away. You start the game with the old world revving at full tilt, but as the game progresses and more evacuations take place, the old world begins to slow down and the new settlers are put to work producing food, energy and steel. Energy is, unsurprisingly, the fuel of the game. It is mainly used to allow you to take actions, and the more actions you take each round, the more energy depleting they become. Food is used to feed the people affecting the evacuation and needs to be paid at the beginning of each round, with the needs of the two worlds elegantly transitioning as the game develops. Steel gives you the means to erect the necessary infrastructure on your new home. Now, Don't let Twitter or that one semester course in sociology you took once get you in a tizzy. This game is not a celebration of the colonial. It posits a tabula rasa in the form of this new world, and anything else you choose to impose on it in 280 characters is purely a product of your own preoccupations. Though it does say something fascinating about our imperative to consume. We need to constantly consume to exist, and there is little seeming hope that this new world will be any different from the old one. Biological life is exploitative, and our technology has allowed us to get in the unenviable position of our consumption outpacing our resources. When you've taken as many actions as your current energy production will allow, you can use the spaceships you've bought to effect the evacuation of the old world if you've held back enough energy to power them. I didn't in one turn, and I wanted to smash the world. Each action you take has a value, and this value dictates how far you are propelled up the progress track. This track gives you symbols that allow you to settle certain spaces, and the further you travel up the track, the more of the new world is unlocked for you. These action values also open up bonuses at the end of the round that give you extra resources or actions. These can be very appealing, but can hinder your progress, so you have to be judicious in deciding what to take and when. Do this for 4 rounds, then you get to choose how the game ends. There are 2 modes included in the box, the points mode and the race mode. The points mode is your standard Euro game ending, where you have goal cards to fulfill and you score what there is to be scored, and the person with the most points wins. The race mode is a little more stressful. A scramble to get your production up to capacity on the new world and build 3 stadiums and potentially leave your opponents foundering between your 2 worlds. While both modes work admirably, the race mode is by far the most compelling. It eliminates the enemy of free-flowing gameplay, and that is optimization. Spend too much time putting your ducks in a row, and those bastards around the table will speed out ahead, rendering all of your meticulous planning useless. It's a brilliant way to end the game and leverages a different style of gameplay, and while I would hugely prefer to play in this mode, the points version does allow you the opportunity to cross all of the continents if that's your bag. Evacuation does so many things so well. All of the actions build on one another so beautifully. The game offers you just the right amount of resistance without feeling overly cruel or arbitrary. This is a game in which your skill will determine how well you do, and this is paramount. The singular thing that stands out for me in Evacuation, though, is the challenge in manipulating the 2 worlds. At the start of the game, all of your resources and all of your production is on the old world, and the challenge lies in how you get all of that shit over to the new. Then the seamless way the game handles the transition from the death of the old world to the opening up of the new world is masterful. The challenge really lies in perfectly leveraging this transition, and Evacuation offers you loads of opportunities to do so. This is not a game of player interaction, though. You can't really fuck with your opponents other than potentially nicking a card that they wanted or snaffling a space. I love naughty multiplayer solitaire games, so this wasn't an issue for me. But if slapping that bastard across from you is a requirement, well then you won't find it here. There is a genuine joy in unravelling the puzzle that Vladimir Suchy has set for you. At its heart, this is a game of resource wrangling, and if that's your thing, then you'll love this one. The thing that keeps me coming back to this hobby is the wonderment, the beautiful minds that can create these immaculate machines that I get to play around with. This is what Evacuation is, a brilliantly fashioned machine that functions every time you operate it. It works at all player counts and in all modes, and does this without being unwieldy or overly complicated. If you like crunchy Eurogames, then you'll love Evacuation. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked this video, you can always give it a thumb. If you want to see a playthrough of Evacuation, you can head over to the Gaming Rules channel and see Paul tackle it. You can sub to this channel and get great merch at sirmeeple.com, and if you really like the vid, you can go to patreon.com/5G4D and help more videos get made. Like these wonderful people. I want to thank Tim for his brilliant thumbnails, and you for giving this a watch. Now, this is where the catchphrase is supposed to go.